Mike is muted. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Iron Minds. Let me see. Right now, we are Trey is still recovering, so we are wishing him a speedy recovery from his surgery. I am guessing that Pedro will be sending me a text in about a half hour saying he overslept, and Mr. Michael Lombard will be joining us shortly. But we're kicking off today awesome with Mr. Dr. Mark Manera, Project 61. What's going on, man? How's it going?
It's going good. Thank you so much for having me. I feel like I've got big shoes to fill, filling in with Trey's personality, especially at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I'll do my best. And yes, definitely praying for him for a quick recovery.
Man, it's just I think he's a great example right now, probably even though he's going through it. Imagine how much more challenging it would be if he hadn't been taking care of himself like he has been.
Of course. I mean, and that's one of those things where it's like it is it's not his lifestyle problem, right? This is like one of those out of the blue things that it happens and life kind of hits you in the face sometimes. But he's killing it, and I think he'll be back up and running, and hopefully even next week be back at Iron Minds.
Absolutely. I think Lombard's about to join us here in a second, so that'll be good too. So what's
Yeah,
going
just give
on?
me
Tell us about the 61,000 step challenge, man. Where are we at?
give me like 2 minutes. I got this. I'm getting it set up.
Copy that.
No worries. So, well, the 61 day step challenge is going well. We've got 100 and something trucking companies who are participating, and thousands of drivers and other people in the trucking industry doing it. The thing for me that's been really exciting is like, yeah, we want like high numbers and high participation, and like we want people to get engaged, but it's been more so of like at these conferences. Like we just got done with the fall conference season, and the amount of people coming up and like, oh my gosh, I've got the off shift app, I'm in the step challenge, or we're hosting morning walks at these conferences, and the amount of people who just are participating, excited about the fact that these conferences and the industry as a whole is talking about health and fitness, like it's just been really encouraging. And we just women in trucking, really big conference. And we hosted a morning walk at 6:30 every single morning of the conference, 3 days in a row. And we averaged over 40 people showing up to the walks. And for a trucking conference that has an open bar the night before, that's a pretty big win.
We got to do Iron Minds a couple times at BCS in May, and it was really an overwhelming response from the people who did it, saying, "Wow, this should be at every conference. This should be offered at every conference." Getting some sort of an organized thing, because I mean, a lot of people like to get away, and that's cool, and it's a good opportunity to network. It's a good opportunity to just have fun and do whatever the nighttime entertainment. But at the same time, some people are more interested in, how can I do this thing in the morning? So it was actually really cool. I was jealous of seeing you all out there.
Well, you'll have to be at the next one, and we'll have to figure out how we can overlap and do one where it's maybe even you're in Florida, right? What part of Florida?
Yeah, I'm in Clearwater in the Tampa Bay area.
Okay. Well, we'll have to figure out if there's a conference in Tampa so you can show up and it's right in person, or if you're going to any conferences this year, we'll have to co-host one. But yeah, I mean, like I just saw a study that said in the U.S. alcohol drinking is down. The least amount of sorry, the in the U.S., we are drinking less alcohol as a whole than we ever have in the last 90 years. And so I think people are craving for different activities that are health and fitness related, and that's in all aspects. It's across the U.S., but I think it's happening in trucking as well.
Do you think, and this is just something that I've been thinking when I hear stats like that, but I'm curious, back when, I mean, I'm 46, so when I was 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, I'm just saying legalized weed gives people another option too that I think a lot of younger people are taking up. And I wonder if that impact, and this is just total curiosity, if that
Yeah.
impacts that level of statistic. But at the same time, I do remember when I was younger, it's not we didn't have as many options, but the knowledge of those options weren't so readily available like it is today. It's extraordinarily easy to find other activities besides just going to the bar.
Yeah, I think you're probably correct that marijuana has definitely impacted that. But I also do think that like the culture of health and wellness is also coming in. So I think there's like multiple tailwinds that probably impacts that. And yeah, I think it's a multitude of multiple things, but definitely people wanting to rather go hang out at a gym than hang out at the bar.
I remember it was probably it was actually, I'll be honest, it was before I even quit drinking that I started to trade my early mornings, or my late nights for early mornings.
Yeah.
Started prioritizing waking up, and working out. And it was sort of like back when I was younger, for a long time before my alcoholism really took the wheel. I was a competitive beach volleyball player, and I never missed a tournament, never overslept, And as a matter of fact, on most nights, I wouldn't even drink before a tournament, even though it was a pretty big kind of drinking culture too. And once alcohol really became the priority in my life, that was no longer true. But it was nice that really towards the end, as I kind of reprioritized fitness, even though again, like my addiction ultimately took over, it still gave me something else. I would still give me something else to make better and healthier choices for myself. Cause I wasn't as interested as being up at 3 and 4 in the morning anymore, instead of getting up at 5 and being productive and enjoying the day and actually feeling better about myself. Oh, I think
Yeah, I love that.
Pardon me.
Um,
Sorry, dude. I didn't know you dipped to another device there.
Good
Welcome.
morning, gentlemen. How we doing? Great conversation we're having.
Good morning.
How was
And
your
I can
Thanksgiving,
hear you
sir?
this time, Lombard.
What's that?
I asked how your Thanksgiving was, and I wasn't sure what you said.
Yeah, no, Thanksgiving was great. Awesome job. No complaints there on Thanksgiving. Nice, peaceful weekend. And really enjoyed myself. I couldn't have asked for a better Thanksgiving.
That's outstanding to
That's
hear.
awesome.
What were you asking him?
I said this time I can actually hear Lombard.
Oh, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about
Last
that.
time, yeah, for some reason you couldn't hear me, but now all the volume is all good.
Yeah.
Yes, it sounds great. It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys. What are we getting into?
I just jumped right in and started asking them where they were at with the 61,000 step challenge, and then you heard us talking about alcohol and potential decrease in usage, and maybe explaining a little bit of that too. Some potentially people picking up other habits like legalized weed. Others are replacing the late night habit for early morning habits, and taking better lifestyle steps. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people who've been sharing. People are consuming less alcohol. It's like I think this is the lowest alcohol consumption in like 90 years or something was the article that was being shared. And Mark's absolutely right. Like there's definitely there's something very trendy about health and wellness. Even my own mother has said this. She goes, it's very cool for young people not to drink now, whereas opposed to like where we're growing up, like when my parents grew up, late 70s, early 80s, like there was a very much like people who didn't drink were very much eviscerated for it and were called called several slurs for not getting involved in using alcohol, where now it's kind of revered. And I think it's still harder in certain places, but like living in a place like Austin, it's the place is. It's the freaking, you know how many wellness centers there are here and like co-oping workspaces. It's like, it's almost ingrained into the culture. Like you're more likely to find somebody who doesn't drink than does. Like it's probably a 50-50 shot living down here, but it's becoming more popular because, yeah, I think that technology, and I think that in the social world now, with technology drew, connected us, in more ways than one, but it also disconnected us. And I think just there's a sort of yearning for coming back to that in a different way that's not circumvented around alcohol, because it leads to poor decisions and poor judgment. So I mean, it's been good and bad. It'll be almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in March since the last time I drank, and it's like my life hasn't gotten worse because of it.
Yeah, it's there's a saying like in my recovery circles that nobody comes in on a winning streak, but that like nobody's ever said their life's gotten worse when they put the bottle down.
Yeah, and that's what I think in the culture that's really important is that narrative is shifting. A lot of times people think when somebody doesn't drink, it must be because they're in recovery. It has to be because of some sort of they had some sort of issue or dilemma, where now that there's more people are just being like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I think it's in turn helping people who are in recovery, because now that social and societal pressure that was probably a huge cause for relapse, is kind of deteriorating. Like, so the kind of the battle that people who are, whether they're with the program or they're going through a certain rehab, their resistance is now starting to deteriorate, because in different social circles out there, people who are alcoholics don't need to worry about being pressured anymore, because now that there's these different social circles of people who aren't doing it anyways. So it's not like they're going to get pressured, and there's more activities to do that aren't circumvented around alcohol.
I think one of the things. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, go for it. Well, I was gonna say, for me, it's not like I haven't drank in years. I just like drink very, 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 very lightly, and it's like very infrequent. Like I haven't probably drank in like 3 months or something like that. And part of it was, obviously the health piece of it. It's very important to me, but then also, especially in my early 20s, I kind of stopped drinking because it's so expensive. I mean, you go to the bar, and it's like so expensive to go out and do, you add, even going out to a restaurant, it like doubles your bill if you go get alcohol and everything as well. And so like there's a financial health piece of it as well.
Morning, Jeff. I'll tell you, when I was at BCS couple last month or whatever, it was actually refreshing too, because several people had come up to me, a couple who didn't know who I was. They just saw me drinking water, and they're like, "Oh, you're not drinking too?" And kind of like Lombard was saying, it's really a lot more normalized. Back when I was first getting sober, if I went to a conference, I was getting a Diet Coke and a lime, or a water and a lime, something that appeared to be alcoholic, so people would leave me alone. And it's just not even, people don't ask twice, can I get you a drink? Yeah, water, Diet Coke, whatever. Like, and it's, no, you're not drinking. Like, all right, that's cool. We're not in college anymore. One thing I was thinking about though is the transition to fitness, and this is kind of segues back to Project 61, but not just the awareness, but I think that, and social media has been a big part of this. It's pulled back the veil on fitness and revealed just how simple it can be. I commonly say how fitness equals movement. Cardio is moving yourself, and strength training is moving other people, or moving other things, moving other people too. And that we don't need to overcomplicate it. And I think that's probably where I think where Project 61 comes in, and the Project 61 app, just the simplicity of like, we don't need to overcomplicate this thing. Not every workout session needs to look like a Rocky training montage. It's about movement.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. And we had a coaching team meeting yesterday, and one of our coaches was talking about how she was talking to one of the members, and they wanted to get back into biking, and the problem and the psychological aspect that this driver said was, well, if I want to get back into biking, then I need to go pump the tires up. And then what if the tires are messed up and I got to take it to the shop? And then if the shop, I got to wait for the shop to do it. And then now I got to find time to go for a bike ride. And like, they like start adding all of these events or tasks that they have to do in their head. And now it feels like this massive mountain that they have to climb just to go for a bike ride or, go for a walk or get some cardio in. And it's like, most of the time just thinking about what's the next activity that you need to do. And it can be pretty simple, like Lombard's doing right now. Go for a walk, get outside, and just get some movement in. And I think a massive part of both the nutrition piece and exercise piece and just health in general is like people try to overcomplicate it or try to bite off way too much that they just need to start really small and then kind of get the snowball building up as it kind of falling down the mountain.
I like talking about breaking things down to the wildly specific and stupidly simple, like making them so simple that it's unignorable. And I often say, if you want to be a runner, step one is grab your shoes. And invariably, somebody responds like, "Oh, what kind of shoes do I need?" Kind of like you were just talking about with the bike tires. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. You don't even need shoes. We're not running a marathon today. Grab a pair of shoes and go outside. Like whatever the simplest step is, we don't need to overcomplicate it. We don't even need to worry about step two. Just take step one.
So I love what you said before, Nick, about how, when it comes to health and fitness, yeah, like media, because when people always think, yeah, you need to be doing this really hard training, you need to be doing these hard lifts for hours on end, but because of technology and information, we're realizing like that's not what Europeans are doing. Like in other countries where obesity and chronic disease isn't a huge detriment on their society, they're not like there's more gyms. Like the country with the most gyms and fitness centers is the U.S. And I'm pretty sure Mark, it's you who's said that before. Like there are like the fitness industry is like a multi-billion-dollar industry in so many ways between what you can do and different programs offered in different gyms, and yet the problem hasn't gotten any better. And so it boils down to the system that people are in, the total overall environment, as well as the quality of food. But for people in places like Europe, where obesity isn't a sort of a plague, they're not at the gym for 2 hours a day. It's not because they work a little bit less or have more vacation time. It's simply because they're not chained to automobiles and their food is a little bit better and their portion sizes are a little bit smaller. Like that's it. The fact that their life isn't circumvented around cars and they just naturally eat a little bit less and it's probably a little bit better quality, but for the most part, it's the walking. When people come back from Europe and they're like, I ate pasta and did this and I had wine and I came back and I lost weight, it's because you did not drive for 10 days and you walked around and took the train everywhere and explored. That's it. That is the only difference. Maybe the food quality a little bit, it's possible, but not in a 2-week span, not in a 10-day span did your body somehow acclimate to this kind of better quality food. It's because you moved and it was the slightest bit of cardio.
See, Jeff
Yeah.
Dickens said, I was a 4-pack-a-day cigarette smoker 32 years ago when he quit. For 35 years, I drank 5 to 7 cups of coffee a day. I'm not judging on that one. And I quit on the 20th of December, 2024. I'm coming up on my year anniversary. I do not miss either. I don't understand the coffee part, but the rest of it, good for you, Jeff. You could take my coffee out of my cold, dead, over-caffeinated hands, but he's probably right that he's feeling better.
Let's go.
Yeah, same.
Mark, Trey mentioned something about a 61-day reset. What is this, a newer event on top of the step challenge?
No, that's just the name of our monthly newsletter. I'm not. Yeah, we send a monthly newsletter out. Jeremy does, just talking about updates on Project 61, and it's called the 61-day reset. So nothing crazy there.
Okay. I didn't know if you already had a follow-up event for the for January 1st after the step challenge.
We do. We're doing a weight loss slash like not it's the overarching theme is around New Year's resolutions, and a lot of the times, especially in our demographic, weight loss is the main focus. And so we are doing an activity-based challenge where it'll be a little bit more nutrition and exercise focused, where they can earn points by completing different habits within our app, and then also completing different workouts in our app. And so we are definitely rolling that out. Obviously, everyone around the new year is thinking about their health, and it's a big time for us to get more drivers in the program and get them excited about what we're doing at Project 61.
Let's go. I know I jumped in a few minutes late, but you had mentioned, I mean, the 61-day step challenge, at least on my end, on the LinkedIn world, it really looks like a lot of the industries jumped in. There's so many carriers, so many I feel like, there was this any given day, especially, prior to the step day challenge starting, even a couple weeks into it. I mean, it was almost like there was sponsor after sponsor really coming in and rallying around this thing. And I mean, but yeah, how's the response been on the carrier side of
Well, yeah, it's been so on the carrier side, it's been really good. It turns out, so as maybe not everyone listening, but I owned a company called Offshift when we were an employee benefit that we were selling to trucking companies, and then we had the app and we helped drivers exercise, eat healthier, and do all of that stuff. And 4.5 months ago, Project 61, which is a 501c3 nonprofit in the trucking industry, they acquired my company and took basically the program and app that we were going and selling to trucking companies, and they are now giving it away completely for free. And in the last 4.5 months, what I can tell you is turns out free is the right price. Trucking companies like that number, and we have had nothing but people just really passionate and excited about rolling this out. We've been in a pretty tough freight market, if people didn't know about that, and that has really impacted trucking companies' abilities to justify adding different things to their P&L, and adding more expenses from an employee benefit perspective. But when you take that cost out and now it's just a human conversation, I have been just very encouraged by no trucking company saying, nah, I'm okay. Our drivers are healthy enough, right? Or like, we figured it out. They're like, okay, yeah, we want all the help we can. And, they've been willing to put in a lot of resources as well around just like the time and energy of their team out in the office to get this out to their drivers. And, we're in like inning number one of all of this, and there's still a lot of things that we need to do better, and there's a lot of companies that we still need to reach out to and get rolling. But I've just been super encouraged in the last 61 days of the amount of people that are rolling this out, and the amount of excitement around like these challenges and Project 61 as a whole. And you mentioned the fundraising piece of it, and I'll kind of talk through that for a second, because we had a goal, Jeremy and I, to raise $61,000 for the step challenge, and we honestly thought that was a little bit of a stretch goal. And we went out and we're about to cross $100,000 raised for the nonprofit from sponsors and everything through the step challenge. And so just really encouraged about overall the movement that's happening, and the amount of people who want to be a part of it.
Let's go. Fantastic job in that fundraising. That's amazing. I got goosebumps just hearing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Man, I'm just thinking down the line, like, what point do you have to change the company name, Project 63, then Project 65?
Well, that's the whole goal, right? We want that name to not make sense anymore.
Like,
yeah,
so
where
I don't understand. Is it about the home runs, like I originally thought, or?
Yeah, when that average life expectancy age starts ticking up, eventually it's just going to be called the project.
The project to keep it there.
We're gonna have a pretty awesome story, right? When we started, this thing was 61 years old, and now through all this work, it's in the 70s, and this industry and your career doesn't define your health anymore, and truck drivers living just as long as the average American, which is awesome.
See, Jeff says it's tough to lose weight when you need a double knee, double shoulder replacement. I could see that as an obstacle. I used to run like you guys and lift quite a bit until that caught up with me. When I was 50, I won many age group 5Ks. Unfortunately, I'm limited, but I would like to lose 30 pounds. Be mindful of what you are running on asphalt. Pounding up will catch up to you at some point. You might not think so now, but be careful.
Yeah, and
Wilson.
Jeff's in a like a peculiar position similar to drivers. Some drivers could be limited in their abilities as well. I was talking to somebody who has kind of like a, he has a condition where I forget the word of it, but essentially, the lower back, the discs have, can kind of slip out. They can kind of slip every time. Mark, you probably for that. It's like it's some sort of disc where the discs can slip. They're at risk of it.
Regardless, yeah.
And essentially, so it's like similar to any other driver. It's you can walk, and walking is good for it because it's good for the spine, but it has to be sparingly. So for somebody who is limited in those physical abilities, it's just about piecing together when you walk, and then using an app like Off Shift or tracking the macros and keeping yourself within a certain calorie amount for a given amount of time.
I'm taking these just like next 2 weeks off from my cardio, and I'm like, man, I need to make some adjustments here, or it's going to look ugly at the end of these 2 weeks.
Well, I think, and Lombard and Nick, I know you both talk about this a decent amount. Is like, I think it's all about controlling the controllables, right? And not being your worst enemy. And if there are variables in your life that are, an obstacle in making certain activities more challenging, well, let's focus on the activities that you can do and go, put 110 effort into that area. And I think with some creativity on the fitness side of things, you definitely can find activities that are pain free and also impact, stimulate muscle growth and also impact and get your heart beating, which increases your cardiovascular endurance and fitness. And then on the nutrition side of things,
I'd say
having
for Jeff, your number one weapon right here would be swimming. Swimming
there you
would be your
go.
best friend right there. Zero impact, zero gravity. Some of the best. It's a total body workout in itself. And then even at the same time, I mean, just with I guess if people's knees are having an issue, I think that rowing is still probably a good thing you can do. I know a driver who used to always carry a Concept 2 rower with him, and then
That's
even
awesome.
using that ski erg, even use that ski. It's only some hip movements, but those are ways to get the heart rate up. And then obviously, possibly a Peloton or something. Cycling is a lot less impact as well. Those would be those are the best friends for anybody with any sort of ongoing knee issues.
I do want to say this too, because if I look back at my own thing, I bet a lot of people who are over 35 who are going to re-pick up fitness, a lot of them probably do what I did, which is think that we're still in our 20s and just start, forgetting that we've probably damaged our bodies. We have many imbalances, et cetera, et cetera. Fitness is it's an all-around thing. So if we're going to do cardio, we got to do the strength to support that cardio. We need the cardio to support that strength. We shouldn't be ignoring our weaknesses, the things that we need to rehab and take care of. The injuries and things like that shouldn't be our excuses, but rather the first steps to work on. Because I mean, that's a lot of why I'm constantly Humpty Dumpty, because I ignored those things for 20 years.
Well,
And I'm prioritizing them more now, which is what's at least keeping me moving. But I think if I had constantly prioritized that instead of just thinking I could just jump into the race, then maybe I wouldn't be as injured as I constantly am.
yeah, well, and what I would say from this is more so of my experience on the physical therapy side of things is um, especially someone who is going from zero activity to no activity. A lot of the times, the psychological piece of I've got bad knees or my back hurts is from the lack of activity and the lack of just your current fitness level, and where you put you put yourself at a higher risk of, pissing your body off is by what you said, jumping in at level 10 instead of level 2 and then going to level 3, then level 4 and easing your way back into it. And oftentimes, you know, um, people are just, you have a mindset, and I won't go down a rant, but if you have the identity of I have bad knees. Well, turns out when you do physical activity and you go down to squat, you're already subconsciously thinking about how I'm someone who has bad knees and this activity is something that's going to bother me. Versus, hey, my knee is right now achy. Let me work on these activities. And if I was Jeff in this situation, he should be doing resistance training because building up the muscle around your knees is the number one thing he can do to increase his quality of life long term, and also reduce the likelihood that his knees are bothering him long term as well, and getting back to doing the activities he wants. So, and the same thing on the back side of things. If he's not building up the strength in his core and his back and his hips and everything around his low back, he's gonna, that person that you were talking about, Lombard, he needs to be doing these activities. He needs to be doing strength training. It just might need to be personalized from the start and finding a progression that doesn't irritate his back or doesn't irritate his knees so that he can get into the rhythm of it.
Oh,
Bingo.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a will, there's a way. Oh, especially, yeah. And there's always ways to dial back. Like for somebody who's not a driver, especially for their knees, TRX straps. You can reverse lunge by using the support of the TRX straps as well as resistance bands. Oh, yeah. There's plenty of ways to dial back, but it's about having access to the information and the system that's going to enable you to be able to get into those movements. And that's why you're on the team, Mark. That's why you're freaking.
There you go.
That's why you're here.
Well, I'll tell, and I'll say, I know we're running lower on time here, but I've been testing something out, and I wanted to get your guys' opinions or see if you guys do something like this. I work from home. I sit at the computer all day. And so one of the things I'm trying to do is get more activity throughout the day. And so I am doing something I call my daily 100. And I pick a body weight exercise. And throughout the day, I try to accumulate 100 reps of it. So
Oh, nice.
yesterday and today, I'm doing push-ups. I'm going to do some ab stuff tomorrow. And yeah, it's been kind of gamifying my work day where I can get some activity in throughout the day. And I got my whiteboard here that I'm chipping off and doing sets of 10s or 20s. And yeah, didn't know if you guys do anything like that.
I build in things as part of my normal schedule. Usually a lot of the things I'm rehabbing or some strength, like additional strength stuff or even some mobility, I'll build those in like to my schedule throughout the day. But on a day where I like say just overslept and I'm like, damn it, I don't have time for my workout this morning, I'll do something like that where I'm like, cool, well, I'm gonna do 150 squats or I'm gonna do this many lunges. Things that I can lunge my way back and forth to the kitchen and back and forth to the bathroom all day if I have to.
Yeah, those are some of the best ones right there. Those are things that drivers can do too, especially if you're getting fuel, whatever you can do. Like I know when I was recruiting for 6 months for Charles Gracie, that was one thing. Every phone call I would make, I had one of those pull-up bars you put on the door. And every time I made a phone call, would do four or five pull-ups, and
Awesome.
I'd be hanging around that for a couple hours, and it's like that's how you level up right there. Like there's so much discreet, and I mean that's in Goggins' first book. Like yeah, if you're one of those guys on time, like you might have to be the guy getting in the push-ups at the airport. You might have to be the guy doing lunges or something at the airport. That's your time. It's not going to look conventional. It's not going to be easy. Those are some of the best ways to gamify. I love you use the term gamify your day to get a daily non-negotiable, even if it's just one. That could be a 61-day habit challenge in itself. For 61 days, I'm going to do 61 push-ups every day. Yeah, you start off small. I think those are the best. It's a path of least resistance to get somebody on the right path.
I'll have to drop my phone right there, brother. You want to take us home?
Yeah, let's rip it, dude. I appreciate everybody coming out on this beautiful Tuesday. As we say every week, iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Again, we've got a community here. We've got a free Slack channel. Talking fitness, goals, whatever you want to do. So if you want to jump in on it, reach out. Wishing Trey for a speedy recovery. Mark, stoked for you to jump on. You'll have to jump on here a little bit more in the future. And let's go out there and have a freaking Tuesday. Let's keep crushing December.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Boom.
Boom.
Later, boys.
And